What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video today, and in this video I have another unboxing. New retailers are always fun to see popping up in this space, and within the last few months this one's been spreading around the community, and I've heard plenty of great reviews about them, so I figured I would give them a shot just to see what they are like. They're much closer to me too, as they are based out of Madison, Wisconsin. So that would make them probably the second or third closest retailer to me, behind the likes of DJ Pilot and also Poppy's Treasures, who's in Kansas City, as they also stock some Gemini jets and all that fun stuff. So they had a couple of really good models. Both of them are of wide bodies, but I figured that I would take these while I could get them, just to give them a test run, see how good they are, and they certainly, at least for the shipping part, they've lived up to the expectations. So, a bit of a tight box here for both of these. One of these I've been really wanting to get for a while because I've been wanting more of these specifically. We have the Aviation 400 United 787-10 Evo Blue livery. Been looking for one of these for a long time, and I have a friend who also really wants one, but hoping to find another one for him here very soon. And then the second model, which is an NG, we have a Zip Air example, the Zip Air 787-8. So my first model of this airline. Good to grow my Japanese fleet further, since I already have the ANA 777, the JAL MD-90, and also that one right there, the Zip Air. And of course, I forgot to mention the name of the retailer is actually Wildcat Diecast, which I've heard a lot of great things about them, and my friend Connor has also been saying a lot of great things about him, so figured I'd give them a shot. Let's head up to the studio and unbox this. And here we go for the unboxing of the NG Models 1/400 scale Zip Air Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner. So Zip Air is a Japanese airline. They're sort of low cost, and they are a bit newer to the space, and they do have a handful of destinations to the US, mainly to San Jose, LAX, SFO, to name a few. And I really wanted to get this so that I could do San Jose. I really wanted to do that airport, and I'm probably going to do it around February of next year, since that's when the Super Bowl is, and it will be in the San Francisco area, though the actual stadium is closer to San Jose Airport. So I'm assuming the Super Bowl charters will go there instead of SFO, which they have done the last time they had it, which was in 2016. I believe those charters went to San Jose, since it's a little easier to navigate as opposed to SFO. But we have this beautiful box from NG. There's the aircraft type, image of the plane, airline logo, registration is Juliet Alpha 825 Juliet, NG logo, 1/400 scale collectible models, die-cast metal. Bottom of the box, we've got some different colors going here with the 788 logo up there, Zip Air, aircraft, NG logo, registration, and then the item number, which is 59017. And then on the right side, we just have the airline logo in its place, and then the top and left side with the various colors and accents of the Zip Air tail. So let's take this out. This is one of the models that does have a card, so hopefully it does have one, and yes, it does. Thankfully not scratched off. So I think really the only concern that I would have at this stage with the CRP cards is if you resell these aircraft, these models that have the cards and they've already been redeemed, you know, you do lose out on that. So I don't think there's really any way that you could counter that, just because you just never know when collectors are going to want to resell their models and move them on to another collection. So it's kind of difficult to gauge that, but maybe that's something that NG will try to optimize down the road as we move forward. But look at this beauty. Very nice. And I believe, yeah, this is my first NG 787 now that I think about it. It's like stuck on the right wing. There we go. Ooh, that is nice. Yeah, very, very good looking NG 787. So yeah, like I said, my first NG 78. I have an AV 400 one. I've got obviously a couple of Geminis in there, but I don't have NG. And then Phoenix, they've got plenty of those, of course. I don't have one from them just yet. But looking very solid here with Zip Air. It's my first example of this aircraft, and nice little way to keep my Japanese collection growing, since I already have ANA and Japan Airlines present in the fleet. Obviously want to add more fun stuff from, you know, ANA and JAL mainly, and then obviously Zip Air is great to have as well. for the likes of a San Jose airport, or maybe LAX or SFO if I ever do those, but that's not going to be for a very long time because I just don't have I don't really have the time to do such large airports. But here she is, Zip Air 787. Very nice livery here. It's kind of plain, no pun intended, but it is pretty nice still, nonetheless. So go ahead and get started up front. We have the nose cone, cockpit windows, a little ETOPS text for ETOPS certification. Flake code on the nose gear door, and then the nose gear, which the wheel does look a little flat. I'm not sure if that's just a matter of the rubber there. Yeah, I think the rubber is a little displaced, but not a huge deal. Let's try to let that focus back on the model here. Moving up, we have the L1 door, and then there's the Zip Air titles. L2 door right there. I'm not sure what type of cabin Zip Air has. I haven't really looked into them that much, but I'm assuming that this would likely be almost near all economy, but maybe some mixture of premium and business class in there, maybe some first class. I'm not too sure. There's the engines looking really good. All the wheels do roll, even the nose wheel, which is a little bit stuttery because of the aforementioned displaced rubber. L3 door, and then there's the rear with the flag of Japan, Boeing 787, L4 door, and the registration, Juliet Alpha 825 Juliet. And then the very lovely Zip Air tail. Now, NG has done several iterations, and when they did their last exchange run, they had some of the other iterations, like the older one, which was a Z on the tail, or Z, as some other English-speaking countries would say it as, and I kind of like to say it that way nowadays, now that I think about it. And then others would have like a sort of mixture between this tail and then the Z in there, or the plain background, but this is the current livery, so I was happy to finally find one of these. There's the right side of the aircraft, not too much to report on for any sort of differences minus the luggage doors, as per usual, but looking really nice. This NG787 is gorgeous. Definitely, all of them I'd say are pretty equal in terms of quality. Some have better proportions on the more minute stuff, but I think all of them look really solid. There's the underneath of the aircraft, landing gear doors. There's also the molded centerpiece right there. Registration printed on the underside of the wings. And then on the top, you do have these nice little barber stripes on the wings. I think that might be for anti-ice stuff. Registration is also printed there, and then there's a red dot to signify the flag of Japan. Very, very lovely model here, the Zip Air 787 by NG. I also forgot to mention, too, I did use Connor's discount code, since he does have a discount code with them, CM Aviation, that will take off 10% of your order, so saves you a good handful of dollars, especially when you're ordering 2 wide bodies, since these days it does go past $100. These were about 60 to 65 each. I know the United was 65. Let me look back at the invoice real quick. So the NG Zip Air, that was 56, so $55.99, and then the AV400 United aircraft, that was 65. So a little bit pricier on that United, but I know those things got pretty rare very quickly. So I was really happy that they actually had one of these, and I'll try to find another one for a friend who really wants this too. So I will be on the lookout, and hopefully Wildcat does get a restock of this in, because he did get one actually right after I ordered this, but somebody else got it before my friend was able to get to it. So we'll certainly be patient with a restock from there if there are more available, but otherwise we'll be on the hunt for one. So here it is, the Aviation 400 1-400 scale United Airlines Boeing 787-10 in the Evo Blue livery. Really hope I get to fly one of these one day. I honestly don't know when that's going to happen, just on a 787 period, because these things you'd obviously see on a lot of the international flights out of their hubs. Sometimes they might have them on a domestic flight, but they're not very common, like the 777s, which obviously some of those are configured for domestic operations, but otherwise you'd have to catch these on an international flight from, say Chicago to London or Chicago to Paris, for example. They may not be exact routes, but point being is that they would typically fly these on international flights. So the Boeing 787-10 logo, Aviation 400 logo, image of the plane, airline logo, aircraft registration, 1-400 scale diecast aircraft model. Then we have the underneath with the United logo, image of the plane, registration, scale, aircraft type, and the ART number or item number, AV4235. Big United logo on that side, and then there's the top side and the left side with the aircraft logo. In the back, just a plain United logo, not much to report on here. So yeah, my third AV400 model already. I had only one entering this year, and now I've got 2 more. And this is another one of those that has the magnetic landing gear, so this is gonna look super nice, especially with the United colors. So let's pop this out. So now I've got 789, 7810, and an A350, all from AV400. And look at this. Wow, that is gorgeous. Goodness me. The AV400, they bring the quality of 1 to 200, and they're able to scale it down to a model that's half the size, and definitely worth the 65 bucks that I paid this for, not factoring in the discount codes. So there is the magnetic landing gear, as always, and then the free stand, which they always include with every model. I always think that's a nice touch. And there's also some extra pieces in there for the landing gear doors, and then also some little sticks that you can use, I believe, for removal of the pieces. So just to keep things simple, I'm gonna put this on the stand, because it actually look much better that way, instead of me trying to fidget with the landing gear and putting that on. So I'm just gonna put it on the stand for the review, and that will get us to where we need to be. And I also keep realizing I'm out of box space, so I desperately need some new shelves. I probably should have gotten that instead of these models, but who doesn't love more models even when they're running out of shelf space? Because quite frankly, that's the life of a collector these days, and we just have to make it work. So this stand does not feel very secure, but I think that's how it's going to go in. So there we go. Plop it on the stand. This will plop in here. It's actually not very firm to go in there. Ugh, I don't think it's going to fit. I think they made the stand hole a little bit too small on this, and now the stand's coming off the base. So I'm gonna look at this for a minute. Well, I couldn't get the model to fit on the stand, so just put the landing gear on. And honestly, that's how I'm gonna display it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But look at this beauty, the United 78710 by AV400. Yeah, I really need to hopefully come across a second one for my friend, because I know he's really gonna want this, and he'll want it even more after seeing this video. I guarantee that. So let's go ahead and dive in. And if I'd love to zoom in a little bit more, just so you can see the details even better. So how much further is it going to go? I think right about there is going to be the furthest. There's a nose cone, cockpit windows, connecting people, uniting the world, Star Alliance titles. Then you have the fleet code and ETOPS certification, L1 door. That brings us on to the United logo, and then you have the molded beacon in there, which looks excellent. Big United titles. I think AV400 got the colors a little dark, but it's not a huge deal. I think just the mold and the details really makes it worth it either way. There's one antenna, there's a Wi-Fi dome up there, and then you move on to the wing joints. There's a very lovely engines, just a drop-dead gorgeous model. Then there's the L3 door and another little Wi-Fi box up there. And then you move to the back with another little antenna down there at the bottom, and then there's 2 more tiny ones. Registration November 17015 with the American flag and the Dreamliner titles. Also fleet code behind the rear door there, the L4. And then there is the United tail with the gradient. Looking solid. That brings us on over to the other side of this very lovely model. You just have to really zoom in to appreciate the detail that AV400 gets printed on all of these models. I mean, just look at that. Just take a screenshot of it. Just take a moment to appreciate all the detail on this. I mean, this almost looks like the real thing, essentially. But yeah, here's the right side. A couple luggage doors over here. And of course the tail on this side. Look at that. Such a beautiful plane. Underneath there is the landing gear, doors, stand hole, another molded beacon, plenty of printed details, everything that you could ask for, and then the top with all the other details featured on the wings. So yeah, a pair of Dreamliners. I didn't think I'd go out of my way to buy 2 Dreamliners, but that is exactly what I have done here to support Wildcat Diecast. Definitely encourage you to give them a try, because I had a really great experience. I did order these models when there was a no shipping thing, or I don't really know how to phrase it, but he wasn't shipping models at that point in time when I ordered it. So after a couple days, when that window passed, this day that he got back and was able to ship models, that got shipped out right away. And I was hoping it would arrive over this past weekend, last weekend, but It arrived on Monday as what USPS told me, so had to wait another week for it, but certainly worth the extra wait since I was up at school. So I definitely give Wildcat Diecast a pass and highly recommend them for any sort of models that you want. So another retailer that I can add to my approval list, and certainly excited to see what else they will have stocked as we move forward. And I'll give another shout out to my friend Connor, who's got the discount code. Use that if you order anything from them, since you'll get a nice little 10% discount, which saved me. But again, if I go back to my invoice, that saved me $12. So a really good deal there for something that would have cost me it was about $120 total. So that only brought it down. So that brought it down to just a little under $109. So really good deal for both of these Dreamliners, which I know they are very rare, hard to find, especially the United. So again, for the friend that wants this, I will help you find one of these, since I know you really want it. And then I had another friend who actually flew this exact registration, so I will help him find one as well. A lot of Dreamliner hunting to do as we move forward, but happy to have these for my collection, and hopefully we'll be able to get more added as we move forward, since I love the 787. With that being said, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.